This is a Tesla Model S, this is a Tesla Model S battery module. It came out in 2013. It is the same module later used in the 2016 Model X. If we consult our battery pack timeline, the BPT, we will see that the Nissan Leaf remains the king in terms of chronological order, which will make the Tesla the queen, arguably a more powerful and versatile piece. Well, before we get into the configuration and the pros and cons of this particular module, let's weigh it. Okay, so as you can see, this weighs 55 pounds, and if we convert it to kigs, it's 25 kigs. Hopefully you can see that. And let's have some fun, and let's bring out all the modules we've done so far and see where this falls on the king of the scale chart. Okay guys, let's see if you remember our contestants. So this first up is the first gen Nissan Leaf. Let's see how that does. So it's 3.9 kilograms, which is 8.6 pounds. Okay, well, we can assume that's going to be our lightest. Next up is one of them BMW hybrid modules. This is 28 pounds or 12 kilograms. These, if you remember, come from a variety of BMWs, 330e, 530e, 740e, X5s. So obviously this one's heavier than the Leaf, but not as heavy as that Tesla. All right, and here's the last module that we've done so far. This is the BMW i3, weighing it at 25 kilograms and 55 pounds. Wow, that's on par with that Tesla. So here we have it one more time. The Tesla weighs, if I remove these, does it make a difference? 55 pounds, 25 kilograms. I think that's about the same as that BMW i3, but we will learn how much density this has versus how much the i3 had. Which one do you think has more? All right, let's start diving into this module. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure its voltage. Okay, so here I just have a multimeter, and let's go ahead and take a measurement. Hopefully you can see that. If not, I'll tell you what it reads. So here it's reading negative 23 volts. Okay, well, if we remember our prior videos, that means I must have reversed the polarities of these probes here. So if I switch them around, we want positive voltage, right? It's a battery, it's got to be supplying some voltage to us. And so it's reading 22.6. So I would call this a nominal 24 volt battery module, okay? First thing we're going to do is we ain't too proud to color code. So this is our negative, this is our positive. We are going to go ahead and color code those. Okay, so this bolt, and 24 volts, it's still in that safe range where we can. Now, I ain't too proud. I'm just going to go like this. Make sure that this is negative. Okay. So yeah, 24 volts you can still touch. I wouldn't just go touching it willy-nilly. Still be careful. Especially since this has some amps in it. Okay. Well, I'm going to just pepper in some info of these modules. So I knew about these when I converted my truck, but to me they were kind of intimidating. They were large, they were expensive. I call them glass packs because of this cover. Now this is obviously plastic, okay? And I'm going to remove it, but to me, that wasn't really much of protection in terms of protecting the module. Unlike the other modules we've seen, like the sardine cans of the Nissan Leaf, they're completely enclosed in some sort of metal protection, right? Well, these aren't. And the other day I was driving thinking to myself, is this just a genius design? Is this a brilliant design of molding all of these cells that are in here into this plastic type of mold? Of course, there's some coolant passages going through it, but it's all molded together. Therefore, you don't need metal casing, or is that just kicking the can down the road? Because obviously you just can't have these modules exposed. They still have to go into some sort of a box, right? So I'm on the fence of that. I don't know if this is a genius design or if this is sort of a cop-out. Anyway, before we go any further, I am going to remove this plastic. All right. So this is a wooden table. So I'm just setting it down. You wouldn't want to lay this down on a piece of metal. Okay, so here's what we're going to look at, all right? This shows us that this is 23 volts, right? But watch this. I can touch it here, and I get the same thing. So how the heck is this module configured, right? Well, this module, instead of using what we've come to know as metal bus bars, is what I would call using metal bus plates. And best way to explain these or visualize them is to use a good old-fashioned Connect 4. All right, so after a quick modification with the death wheel, we took our Connect 4 game, whatever it is, and made something that resembles these bus plates, if you will. So we could have counted the cells inside of this module, but there's an abundance of information on the Tesla battery modules. So it just so happens that this beast has 444 cylindrical cells in it. And if we remember our other batteries, Nissan Leaf uses pouches, BMW prefers prismatic cells, and Tesla uses cylindrical cells. So in the Model S, Tesla used 18650s, okay? And I admire them for actually using logical model numbers and not something arbitrary. So the 18650 means nothing more than 18 millimeters, I guess, wide by 65 millimeters tall. So the 18 millimeters, I believe, would be the diameter of these cylindrical cells, and with the 65 being the height of them. Later on in the Model 3, they started using 2170s. So again, that just means 21 millimeters wide by 70 millimeters tall. And yet later in a Cybertruck, now they're using the 4680s. So it's a much larger cylindrical cell. It's 46 millimeters wide by 80 millimeters tall. Okay, so again, since we have the information readily available, we don't have to count these cells, and there just happens to be 444 of them in this module. And they are configured in something called 6S74P. So if you like seeing the EV battery modules explained using AA Duracell batteries, then you are in the right place. All right, so we know that this is 6S, and each one of these cells is lithium ion, and they're basically what we keep calling 4-volt cells. So it makes sense that if the module measures 24 volts and each cell is 4 volts, if we divide 24 by 4, we end up with 6. So we have 6 of these cells. Now, the way they would be configured in here is in this section, they would go negative up, then negative, positive up, negative, positive. Hopefully I can demonstrate this. Maybe I'll need to tape them or something. Something to this effect. I am going to try and tape these together. I was planning on getting a battery holder, a cell holder. I never got around to it. Okay, so this is what the 6S would look like. Okay, I hope you guys can see that. And when we measure across from this one to that positive, we are essentially measuring from here to there, but they are connected with bus bars. Now, okay, so great, this gives us the 6S, but wait a minute, it's 74p. Holy shit. All right, so to show you how this module is configured in 6S74P, I'm going to use actually 74 of these AA batteries. No, I'm not going to buy 444 of them. I'll just show you one of the 6 clusters, if you will. So here we go. So I got them here in the batches of 10 just to make it easier for me to assemble them into what I call a cluster or a clump. And this module has 6 of these clumps of 74. So there we go, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and then 4. Okay? Just using some clear tape here to glue them, tape them all together, I should say. Will this work? I have no idea. Just some clear shipping tape just to make them stick. Okay, so you're getting the idea. Okay guys, so picture 6 of these clusters, and they're not all identically shaped. They're not very symmetrical. It's not like some of the other packs where everyone looks exactly the same. But the way they're going to be placed in here is some are going to be positive up, then the next batch down like this, next batch up, and then down, and then coming back this way over here, okay? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this plastic cover on here just so I don't short anything out. And of course, this is the wrong one. Okay, so that's on there. Now I can stack them on here. Okay, so since this here is the negative, okay, this cluster here would be like this with the negative side up. And then this is positive, so this bunch would be like this. And I do have this plastic cover on here, that's why I'm laying these on there. So this side goes negative like this, then positive in here, then negative again like this, and then over to this side, and then negative like that, and then positive like this, okay? But how are they connected? Okay, well, if these are our negative here, Tesla uses these bus plates, as I call them, and they place this over, and then each single cell, all 440 of these, are welded on both sides with what they call a bonding wire. And this, hindsight is 2020, but even Tesla went away from these flimsy bonding wires, and this was one of the things that didn't appeal to me because that's really fragile, but it's brilliant because that tiny little bonding wire also acts as a fuse, and if something acts up with one cell, it just takes that one cell out of the equation. This plate, this bus plate, would connect two of these clusters together. So this one would overlap half of this plate, and then right here, this cluster of cells will be positive side up and will be overlapped by the same plate. So actually what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove this and I'm going to color code some more of these for us to see, because I like that I went out and I bought this module rather than just looking at something on the interwebs, right? So this here, once you have it and you touch it, you can really examine it and learn more about it. Basically, I'm going to use Sharpie to color code these again so we can see which ones are positive, which ones are negative. If you look closely on these plates, they will actually say positive. Like this one right there says positive, okay? So this section here, this right here, I believe is 74 of them, and all of these here are negative side up. Okay, let's see if I can get this right and not screw this up too much. So I'm going to draw this right here because this is where one plate goes. We can see this divide. Okay, so this right here is one plate, and then what I call a bus plate. And then right here starts the next one, right there. Okay? And then this is the next one, and then one here. This one just spans the 74. This one here spans two batches of 74. And if I look at this closely, I'm going to try to draw where the split is of the negative, if I can see it correctly. So this is all one solid plate, but I believe it goes something like this. Actually may go like that. Let me count these to see if this is really 74. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. Did I miss it by one? That's not bad, actually. If I just missed it by one, I would call that pretty darn close. So the other half of this plate has the bonding wires welded to the negative side of the cells that are in here upside down. So this goes negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, and that would make sense. So we know that this plate here is positive. I'm actually going to go crazy on these. This is positive plate right here. This is a negative plate right here. Bus plate, as I'm dubbing it. Okay. This is a negative. And underneath it, when we flip this thing over, you'll see that the plates on the other side are different, okay? So there's actually a plate so right now it goes in series like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But there's a plate below that bonds these across like that. So this is a plate, this is a plate. Then on this side, that's a plate, and this is a plate. But on the underneath, one goes across. So one below this module goes that way. So it's like this, like this, like this, like this. But it's different underneath. So let me actually go on the other side of the table and mark the other side of these. And if you want to get this module, I strongly suggest you get one and you play with it and you put your hands on it. And that way you can use it to mock it up in the car. I am not a big fan of using cardboard for mock-ups, and we can thumb wrestle over that. But I did that when I was building my electric motorcycle. And what I learned is that cardboard gives, okay? It gives and forgives. And so a cardboard box that represents a module in your mock-up will fit into tight spaces because it will budge a little, you know, it will bend, it will twist, and then you build that box out of metal and you'll have a hard time fitting it because metal doesn't fit. So get yourself a module. It could even be one that's not working, you know. I think this one, the pack actually flooded on this one, I think. But I didn't care because I just wanted to put my hands on something, okay? Okay, you should start seeing the method to my madness eventually here. Okay. So this guy kind of has a funny shape a little bit, but so be it. Okay, let me get my multimeter and try a little test here. So I'm gonna put this on volts DC here. This is a negative right here. But if we connect this chunk of 74 to this chunk of 74, see how we go from I don't know how to measure the other side here, but I know that if I go from this one to this one, that doubles to 8. And then I'm going to jump further here. Now we're at 16, 24. So I would have to measure the other sides to go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. And I'm going to show you that. In this side, it jumps by 8. So this is 8, 16, and 24. 24. Yeah, that makes sense because I'm going basically from the negative terminal to every positive chunk here. So again, 8, 16, and then what I would call 24. I mentioned before that unlike the Nissan Leaf or the BMW hybrids or even the BMW i3, this module doesn't have any type of mounting points, okay? It's molded into this plastic. So I'm going to bring out a piece of wood here, a couple pieces of wood, so I can stand it on it right side, and you can see the voltages as I measure every chunk of 74. Let me flip it over first. And I'm going to do something similar here, but on this side we have a plate here. So this is 1, then this is 2, and then this is 3. I want to draw the lines for you guys so you can see where it's kind of broken up. Okay, so this line, hopefully you guys can see it. This shows just where the plates are separated, the bus plates. Okay, so oh, is this one? Oh wow, I think this sensor might be for BMS, came loose there. Anyway. So this funny section is one plate right here, okay? And then this right here obviously is a plate and it's got this little rigidity. Okay, so this is a plate and then that's a plate right there. And so these plates kind of overlap because I can see, it's hard for you guys to see, but this section here is the negative and then this section on this plate is positive. So again, I'm going to hold these up in the air because I don't have the plastic cover. But this section here is negative like this. And this oddball shape here is positive side up. And this section goes down to negative. This is positive. This is negative. And they finish up on positive right here. So that's how they're flip-flopping. But let me bring out the piece of wood to show you that this is all positives in here. Positive side up of the cells, and then that goes to negative in this chunk. So yeah, they keep doing this, 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 this. Actually, this works pretty well. These are, you can use 2x4s, I'm sure. This is 2x6s, and see how it stands up like so. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on back to volts DC. So yeah, we know that this is our negative terminal, and so that I'm touching this on anywhere on that plate, and I'm touching this anywhere on this plate on this side, and basically we're measuring just the single clump of 74 cells, and because they are all in parallel, the voltage doesn't add up. It's the amps that add up. So that's 4 volts. So what I did there just to demonstrate, as I basically, you know, it was as if I did this. So you can see my clump of cells here, right? Negatives there, positives here. So I'm just touching the negative, but they're all joined of that one and that one. So my single is measuring 1.6 volts because these are, you know, obviously AA Duracell batteries. But on the Tesla cells, they are joined by these plates, right? By the bus plates. That's what I wanted to show you, that it's really times 4 volts despite them being clustered in 74, in groups of 74. So from kind of the negative side to the positive side of the same 74 measures 4 volts, okay? But then to get the next one in this series, I need to take a measurement from this plate here, and that puts us at 8. And then to get the next one, I need to go to here, which is 12. And then from 12, I need to go, I'm guessing here. I can't even see it. That's 16. Good. And then from 16, I go here, which would be 20. 19.8, close enough. And then finally back to this side, and that should be 23.8, which I'm calling 24. Okay, so that's how you do it. I know that was kind of hard to follow, guys. I appreciate you watching. This one is quite a doozy. I hope I shed some light on how it is set up in this whole 6S74P configuration. If you guys have ideas of seeing how they are mounted in vehicles, I would love to see that, because I don't know how to mount these in a vehicle. I'm not a big fan of, you know, kind of their design for that matter, but open to ideas. Okay, so I want to finish the video by showing you how I think they end up being set up in either EV conversions or solar, used for solar systems. Basically, what we want to do is so you wouldn't use wood, obviously. Well, maybe for solar you could, but you would use, let's see if these are tall enough. Nope, not tall enough on that side even. But I see guys use something like a square tubing, you know, and this ridge is not in the middle. So I'm actually going to try to demonstrate with it being upside down, just so that I'll be able to prove my point here of how this thing can be suspended. I'll bring the camera over to kind of show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, so here's the idea of how it would be mounted. You basically would suspend it on what they would probably use something like, I don't know, maybe angle iron or aluminum or square tubing, really, because you don't want make any type of contact. Now, I did remove the plastic covers here just for demonstration purposes. This here is a slave BMS board. Each module has one of these, and then they connect to what I would assume is a master one. But here it is suspended, right? So it's off the ground, it's not touching, but I didn't even realize till now that these plastic molding here is not in the middle height-wise of the module. It's actually off to one side. The other thing I want to point about this module is that it does have built-in cooling. So right here, it does have this built-in cooling that loops throughout the module, and I'm sure there's plenty of videos on how these are connected and arranged, and mine was just mostly about how this whole 6S74P is configured, and how these clunks or chunks of clusters of cells are arranged in this thing. It's pretty fascinating when I first got it to figure it out, and again, I recommend you get one of these modules, put your hands on it, figure out if they would fit in your vehicle or how you would set it up in your solar system. And yeah, just enjoy learning about them. Thanks for watching, guys.